Subliminal, original of all
Good
original.
morning, Boker Tov, buenos dias, sabah el khair. This is Shanna Fold here with the Israel Daily News Podcast. I'm here to give you the headlines so you can get caught up quickly. You're listening, so you're already on top of your game. Survive and thrive, people. Knowledge is the best weapon. Today is Wednesday, December 9th, 2020, which means that we are on episode 103 here at the Israel Daily News Podcast. We are calling on our listeners to offer a sponsorship or contribution, which you can send over using the link in the show notes or by visiting anchor.fm/Israel Daily News/support. Now, let's get to the news. I talked about this yesterday, and today it has been confirmed that there will not be a nationwide curfew imposed over the Hanukkah holiday season in Israel. The proposed curfew that would have been between 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. could not pass the legal issues that it came across in the Knesset. Following the meeting on Wednesday, the government decided to disband those plans for restrictions. Public health officials say they couldn't prove that restrictions would be helpful in preventing COVID-19. Following the decision, Israeli ministers approved the reopening of several malls, outdoor markets, and museums across Israel. The news came last night after a late coronavirus cabinet phone call meeting where the members of Knesset approved the reopenings despite failing to develop a decision on the proposed curfew. Stores will be tracking the number of people inside using an electronic system, and they will be following strict government capacity regulations. The measures will be in effect until at least December 23rd. Israel's first batch of Pfizer COVID-19 vaccines landed today, and Prime Minister Netanyahu said he'd be the first one to take it. A plane landed from Brussels carrying between 3,000 and 4,000 doses of the vaccine, and hundreds of thousands more are set to arrive tomorrow. In a speech given at Ben Gurion Airport, Netanyahu said that he would be the first to receive the vaccine in an effort to encourage others to do the same. The first shipment is being used to practice the transit and storage of the vaccines, which must be kept at negative 70 degrees Celsius or negative 94 degrees Fahrenheit, and used within 5 days of their removal from storage. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration will review Pfizer's trial data later this week, and if it approves the vaccine for use, Israeli officials are expected to give it the thumbs up as well. I'm going to take a moment away from the news to ask you to send over a monthly contribution if you are enjoying this report and think that it brings you value. There's a link in the show notes where you can send a $5 or $10 monthly contribution. The site is anchor.fm/Israel Daily News/support. Listeners to submit a donation of $5 per month will receive a handwritten letter by me mailed to you with a special note from me and a little poem inside. I actually wrote up a poem and sent it out this week. I hope that my listener enjoys it. Those who send over a $10 monthly donation or more will get access to a one-on-one Q&A session with me via Zoom where we can talk politics or we can talk about living in Israel. I am finalizing a mini book about my journey and my learnings. The idea is to celebrate 100 episodes, which we hit last week, and help other creative minds get started on their own projects too. If you yourself are a creator or you know someone who is, and they're looking for some guidance or even emotional support, reach out to me. I would value their input and it would help me angle the book. Send me a message. The United Arab Emirates say they will not be boycotting products from Israel and that they welcome free trade of products from the West Bank, despite it has been unpopular in recent times. The head of Dubai's Chamber of Commerce and Industry says he has no issues with importing products from the West Bank because it boosts the economy for tens of thousands of Palestinians that work in those West Bank factories. He said that the UAE is an open market in every sense of the word. If you're not familiar, many countries and individuals have taken up a boycott of Israeli products that were created and produced in the West Bank. That is because the land is contested. Some believe that this land belongs to Israelis, and they call it Judea and Samaria. Some say it belongs to Palestinians in the West Bank, and a movement to stop purchasing items from this area in an effort to disrupt Jews from earning money off of those products and goods has been called BDS, Boycott, Divest, Sanctions. So the head of Dubai's Chamber of Commerce says they are not walking down that road because they believe that by purchasing these products, they are actually supporting Palestinians. Has the state of Israel made contact with aliens? Aliens. According to retired Israeli General Chaim Eshed, the answer is yes. Eshed, who served as the head of Israel's space security program for almost 30 years, explained that Israel and the U.S. have both been dealing with aliens for years. But he says that this has been kept a national secret because humanity isn't ready. He even mentioned the existence of a galactic federation, though through which agreements between the aliens and the U.S. have been made. He provides more details in his newest book, The Universe Beyond the Horizon. It is unclear if any evidence exists to support Eshed's claim, but on a similar note, Space IL, the group behind Israel's failed attempt to land a spacecraft on the moon in 2019, may have just made an exciting announcement. They uploaded a video to social media of the moon with the text, "Back to the moon." And the caption says, "Ready to get excited again?" Well, thank you to the J-Post for this dynamic and fun article. We don't know if aliens really exist, but hopefully with a potential new space exhibition, we will get some more information. All right, well, that's it for today's news. Today is Wednesday, December 9th, 2020. Tel Aviv has a low of 12 degrees Celsius and a high of 22 degrees Celsius. That's 54 degrees Fahrenheit for the low, going up to 72 degrees for the high. Today in New York City, which is where I'm producing today's podcast, it is snowing. The first snowfall of the year. Subscribe to the Israel Daily News podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you're hearing it from. I am everywhere. Thank you, Candace Cohen, Jack Meltzner, Orion Fitlovich, and Javier Plavnik for their contributions to the research, writing, and ideation of the show. I'll send you off today with Tamid Kadima, or Always Forward in English. Have a great and productive day.
אתם לא תצליחו לעצור אותי, כי תמיד אני נשאר
עם הפנים נמנים קדימה, לילות לבנים נמנים בלי שינה, זה בא בגלים, תמיד זה בא, ממשיך תמיד קדימה,
תמיד קדימה לא נח, יאללה הכל הפוך על הפוך, I guess זה דרכו של עולם. החיים מלאים אתגרים מכשולים, התפקיד שלך זה רק להיות מוכן. וכל החיים ראו בי פרסי טוניסאי, שוורצך יהיה מובן. ובקליפ האחרון שנצבענו לשחור, אז ביום אחד כולם ראו לבן. קם מוקדם על הבוקר ורץ, מגיל 6 שני רגע לשנץ, מאושר בחלקי וגאה בדרכי, גם כן עם כל גופי מנופץ. לא שוכח את האושר ללבוש, הכל בראש, הכל זה הכל בראש, ותמיד יש עוד צמרת לכבוש, הכל בראש, הכל זה הכל בראש.
עם הפנים נמנים קדימה, לילות לבנים נמנים בלי שינה, זה בא בגלים, תמיד זה בא, ממשיך תמיד קדימה,
תמיד קדימה לא נח, יאללה תמיד ממשיך קדימה, לא יצליחו לעצור אותי. לא נולד אדם שיעבור אותי, שהמיקרופון אצלי ביד אז הוא עולה בלהבות, כי אין מעצורים, אין עקבות. ממשיך לנסות לחדש שקשה זה מאתגר אותי, גם אם מקשל זה לא שובר אותי. יותר מ-70% מהגוף שלי זה הקיק והסנר, לא עוצר עד שאלגו מהבאר. אז אני בא מלמטה, מלמטה, מלמטה אני באתי לעולם, מלמעלה, מלמעלה, מלמעלה לא הבאתי, רק בגובה העיניים, ככה אישון לאישון. מודפאקר בוא נראה מי הראשון, אני קם רץ קדימה ומהר, לא מכיר דבר אחר בחיים האלה. אם אתה לא מקדים אתה מאחר, מתאמץ ומשתפר, לא צועד אני דוהר, למה אם אתה לא מקדים אתה מאחר?
עם הפנים נמנים קדימה, לילות לבנים נמנים בלי שינה, זה בא בגלים, תמיד זה בא, ממשיך תמיד קדימה,
תמיד קדימה לא נח, יאללה.
לבנים נמנים בלי שינה, זה בא בגלים, תמיד זה בא, ממשיך תמיד קדימה,
תמיד קדימה לא נח, יאללה.